And welcome back, everybody, to the ESL Legendary Series Grand Finals. I'm Doa. With me is Chobra and Akop. We're switching out a bit. So, guys, we just saw our first match. James managed to take down, Darren rather managed to take down James.
Right.
The first one. Now we're moving on to RDU versus Orange, which is an interesting one. RDU, of course, no introduction necessary. This guy's a DreamHack winner. He's won a lot of tournaments. A little bit quieter early in 2015, but a big opportunity for him here today. And Orange, this guy is just burning up the qualifiers, right? He's getting into everything. He took out Firebat, the BlizzCon winner from last year. How do you think this one is going to shake down?
I mean, Orange is definitely in a hot streak right now. He took Xixo's Qualifier King title, basically.
Yeah, he did.
Qualifying for so many tournaments and just making a name for himself, demanding that he gets invited to many more tournaments to come, because he's proven that he can do it through the qualifiers, so he deserves to be here for sure. RDU, on the other hand, had, as you have said, a really good year, a really good 2014, kind of peaking at the DreamHack Summer. And yeah, of course, recently he's his results have not been up to par, but he is definitely very passionate about the game still, and puts a lot of time and dedication into preparation and practicing.
Yeah.
And he definitely wants to make a comeback here.
I think so. I think, RDU, probably personally, he's kind of seeing this as the big kind of comeback stage, hopefully, and I think there's a lot of hope for that. Personally, this is one of the quarterfinals I was looking most forward to, like we just talked about, kind of a comeback story for RDU. Orange really rising up to the occasion. And, like you said, Akop, I think that's a big story in Hearthstone in general, right? All these players who are like, listen, I'm good enough, like, get me some invites, or else I'm just going to storm through all these qualifiers every single time.
Right.
Here he is again. We'll see if he can reach to the top, though.
I mean, this whole round of 8, it really is kind of like the guys trying to make a name for themselves versus the veterans trying to just kind of keep that momentum going, right? And I feel like this is really shown in this match. RDU, definitely a veteran, a guy with a lot of wins under his belt, versus Orange, someone who's trying to get that first win on a big stage. It's a huge match.
I like how you call RDU a veteran, even though he's like only 18 years old. Right?
That's true.
Hearthstone, I mean, Hearthstone's only been around for about a year, right? So as far as Hearthstone goes, he's a Hearthstone veteran.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll definitely have those titles fleshed out over probably this year. I think we'll really kind of finalize who are the veterans. Like, are those older names really going to be able to stick around and really make a name for themselves? Or will some of them, I mean, we've seen some players already shift a little bit more to that management role, really building up the community and the teams because they've wanted a little better infrastructure after their first experiences. Of course, these two players on the receiving end of that benefit under their team. So we'll see how they represent their brands, but looks like we're going to have some information ready for us here about the deck. Yeah,
well, here are the classes that our players have chosen. We can see Orange going with Hunter, Rogue, and Warrior. Meanwhile, RDU picking up Druid, Hunter, and Mage. Akop, what's your first impressions on that one?
Well, here's what RDU actually told me at breakfast today, that he out-mind gamed Orange pretty hard in that regard, because he was expecting Orange to think that RDU will bring Rogue to the table, which is obviously why Orange brought Warrior in his lineup to counter that Rogue. And RDU, because he played naturally, RDU assumed that that Orange will think that he will bring the Rogue, because he played it all the time on stream and in recent tournaments, and now RDU didn't bring the Rogue, and Orange was surprised by that.
Yeah, RDU's been going for the long con here at the ESL Legendary Series, and talked to him right before the cast too with Frodan, and he's just like, yeah, I think I've really got him. He's gonna see that Rogue coming up, and it's not gonna be there. On the same page, I mean, RDU kind of going for what we know of typically as like the strongest classes right now, and this is what RDU does best. He's not going to be the biggest risk taker. He's going to go with, hey, if this gets me the win, I'll go for it. Why not? And that's why he's been able to put up those scores in the past year. Meanwhile, I think Orange, sure, he got mind game, but now it's, he's got to forget about that. I mean, you just got to play the game. Once you get in, it is Hearthstone. You can still play out each card differently. Each turn is going to be different. So we'll see how he adapts really now for Orange.
It's going to be a tough first game for Orange, though, because he's going Warrior against Druid, man. I mean, as a Control Warrior player myself, when I see Druid pop up on the ladder, happiness isn't the first thing I feel. I mean, Akop, what do you think about this matchup, man? I mean, it is going to be pretty tough for Orange, isn't it?
It is really tough in general for Warrior to deal with the Druid. However, it all depends on the build of the Druid, and we see already a tech card that's not included in every deck. This is the Gorehowl.
Yeah.
Throughout the history of Hearthstone, Gorehowl has always been a very good card against Druid. Just having this constant answer against the big threats that the Druid can put out. So
Well, if you're going to bring Warrior to this tournament, where we saw so much Druid in the round of 16, it makes a lot of sense that you'd include the Gorehall, you include a little bit of anti-Druid tech in it.
yeah, if you include stuff like Bomb Lobbers as well, those are pretty good against Druid, with Shades of Naxxramas or stuff like that.
Meanwhile, I mean, RDU, this is kind of just a standard start for Druids, right? I mean, this is what people are not so happy about when they're playing against Druid. This is what you fear, and it's coming right off the bat. Thankfully, we are going to have some stuff from Orange, but, if I was Orange, I would already be a little bit worried. Sure, he has some of that early, you can put the Armor Smiths down, you have that War Axe, but again, we talked about it. Druid is not about putting those smaller minions at the beginning. It's what you really got to be careful of that ramp.
Right, I mean, the small stuff is just kind of a distraction for what's coming later, and if you can deal with it with as few cards as possible, you'll be in a good place. I like the early Armor Smith. He's got two in his hand anyway. Get a little bit established, poke down the Druid a little bit, maybe even get a little bit of armor too, huh?
Yeah, the important part about Orange's game plan is reaching a critical mass of armor, so you just get out of range of any potential combo potential. So once Orange reaches an amount of above 10 armor at some point in the late game, it will be really hard for RDU to win, because eventually the Warrior just has a better late game than the Druid does.
All right, Fiery War Axe into that piloted Shredder. Let's see what it gives us. It's, wow, holy cow, it's actually a Flame Tongue Totem.
Yeah,
Interesting.
This is going to be a little bit rough, and going for the Cruel Taskmaster, I mean, you kind of just got to keep fleshing this out, and I do like that. You just got to get rid of the Flame Tongue Totem, because otherwise you're not going to have an easier clear. Sure, you could use a second charge on your Axe, but you want to save that. You don't mind sacrificing a little bit of that health later with that Axe to take care of a bigger minion than just a Totem that came out from the Shredder.
That was actually really nice, wasn't it? He was able to get some armor off of both Armor Smiths, clear what came out of the piloted Shredder. Not a bad turn for Orange.
Yeah, the start from Orange is actually just insane.
Yeah.
Having a board like this against the Druid this early on is a big deal for the Warrior, because usually the Warrior gets, kind of struggles all the time to even stay equal on the board, and now Orange is actually ahead.
Well, there's just no good way for Druid to remove two Armor Smiths early on. I mean, that 2-4 health minion, there's just no good way. No combination of Wrath or Swipe or Hero Power. It's tough to make it work.
And even if he deals with them, especially because he has double Armor Smith, he will just get double the armor, which will make him reach this critical mass of armor that he needs early.
He's kind of getting there already. 4 armor early on.
Yeah, so I mean, we saw kind of the play here from RDU. He's like, all right, well, you know what? I got to get rid of those Armor Smiths as soon as possible. Sure, this opens up to that Shade being taken out, but at the same time, that's going to chip off the armor again, kind of reset the value. You're just kind of fighting to stay even and try to get that board back, or not necessarily the board, but the game back in balance, because then again, the Druid might have that advantage as we go later towards the game.
Do you just shield slam the Shade here, or perhaps the Drake?
You could just attack it with the Fiery War Axe. That's
true.
That's a possibility. And
are you worried about
Drake? That's good.
You worried about giving up some of that armor though?
As long as you use your shield slam before getting rid of the armor, then
well, yeah.
That's the
biggest
we're not
part
going to hope
sure.
that he's making mistakes like that at this stage.
We're not watching me play Hiccup. We're watching like actual professionals. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, the thing about playing the shield slam right now and saving it for later is by using shield slam you don't play the Sludge Belcher, and you want to
that's very
on
true.
the board as well.
I was thinking that.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest part for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the Armor Smith is going to stay alive, and with that Sludge Belcher there, again, you're counting up, oh, okay, he's just going to go for the trade, which is fine, too. You get that armor back, and then you'll have that Belcher there. In some ways, that's safer, because, again, you haven't seen the Wrath, so that Armor Smith could have easily get taken out, then the Belcher doesn't really necessarily synergize. It's just ground zero once again.
It's true. Innervate, Ancient Allure. A classic Druid play that everybody who plays against Druid hates.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I guess, if we really not get picky, he had to kind of rush the Innervate there, and he's not going to fully use all the mana, but at the same time, he only had the combo left in his hand, so he's got to really flush out his hand once again.
And he actually drew into Dr. Boom, which is like the perfect follow-up on turn 7.
Yep,
pretty much.
Absolutely.
Well, Shield Maiden, a little bit more armor, a little bit of damage to face for Orange, but aside from that, that's pretty much the turn.
All right, well...
Oh, wow, Sky Golem, too. I love that we can play piloted Sky Golem again in some of these decks. It's one of my favorite cards.
Yeah, it seems like a little bit of a slower type of Force of Nature Druid that RDU is playing right now.
Yeah.
Many Druids just don't play the Sky Golem anymore. It used to see a lot of play, but it's just been too slow in general. RDU just opting that yeah, he was expecting his opponent to play slower decks, so he can make his deck slower too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's some real anti-druid tech here. Bomb Lobber for the Warrior should be able to deal quite handily with part of the board, but the problem is that you've got these boom bots out there, right? So even if you hit something on the opponent's side, you have a good chance of sending the damage right back.
No, yeah, the Shield Slam I think that's like the most obvious, safest bet. Obviously, you have the Despite and Gorel to set up.
Right.
As for the Bomb Lobber, man, if that hits one of those boom bots, that would have felt terrible without taking care of Dr. Boom. So I think this is the better play here.
Yeah, Orange can guarantee that the Bomb Lobber will hit the Ancient of Lore, which is exactly what he wants.
Exactly.
Oh, he decides to go for Despite instead, though.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised. I was kind of expecting the Bomb Lobber as well, and 5 more damage to face. But it's an interesting plan. I mean, with Control Warrior, you do get worried, about Druids sort of poking you down. So if you can put that kill pressure on Druid too, that makes them kind of on the defensive. So
I actually like this play with the Despite because he has to get rid of it eventually when he wants to play his Gore Howl.
Yeah.
So definitely making use out of the weapon of the cards he has in his hand. And,
adapting really well to what he's drawing right now for Orange. And I think he's really making a big play for himself in this first game. Again, we talked about that mind game coming in, and it looks like Orange isn't letting that affect him. At the same time, RDU after that start, it's gotten actually a little bit too slow for him in terms of the draws here.
He's still got a lot of cards to deal with, I suppose, or to work with rather in his hand. Piloted Sky Golem, I suppose a good establishing turn.
Yeah, the Nourish is another card that has just been drawn by RDU that is actually unconventional for most Druids.
Yes.
RDU plays Nourish, I guess, in order to draw into the combo more effectively. Nourish can draw 3 cards after all, and RDU plays 2 copies of the combo pieces, I assume.
And that's what I love, right? Is that after these expansions, we've had a couple months pass, and then a lot of these older cards are kind of resurfacing and finding their spot that people might have used them a lot better earlier on. Now, 2 Death Rattle to deal with here on the opposing side of the board. Yeah, I do agree
Definitely
that
attack first.
Yeah, attack first, because man, you never know what's gonna pop out of there.
Well, hopefully he doesn't lose his Frothing Berserker to a boom bot. That's kind of the risk here.
Yep, it's a pretty big risk, but at the same time, it's not the end of the world if he does. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
that worked out.
Wow. Deals with the 4-drop very effectively.
Yeah. Very nice play, and that gives that Frothing Berserker even more power. It's pretty scary for RDU. Oh, but it puts it right in range of the big game hunter. Wow, what a draw for RDU. He can handle that one pretty easily if he wants to now.
I mean, that's so valuable, though. Yeah, I kind of agree with this because the BGH is gonna have so many uses against the Warrior.
Exactly.
At the same time, you have that second Force of Nature in your hand. I think this is the safer play here, and you know that the Warrior only has 1 card, so you don't want to kind of like put your BGH out there and he's like, all right, well, here we go, legendary after legendary from here on out.
Yeah.
So a little bit of the safer play here.
Lotheb, okay.
Yeah, but a minion like Frothing Berserker is so easy to deal with usually as Druid, so because of the low health, it's not that low most of the times, but it's definitely better to save the BGH for something that has way more health than the Frothing Berserker.
Yeah. For Artie here, obviously, I mean, Nourish would have been great, but now it's just going to fill out his whole mana, so might as well just kind of fill out the board where you can and then move on. I mean, this is RDU is really just banking on from here on out going towards it. I do like the preference to take care of the armor there. Just doing 2 damage to Lotheb there wasn't really going to help anyone this immediate turn.
He's got his opponent down to 14. And with the draws kind of stagnating a bit for Orange, it's getting risky. But there's his own Dr. Boom, maybe a little bit of a chance to get back some board control.
Yeah, but this is exactly why the BGH should have been saved. And you know what? RDU is going to say, well, all right, I'm really glad I didn't make that call. We'll be able to take care of that. Yeah, the boom bots will be there, but given where the board is right now, it's not too big of a concern. So we'll see. The Lotheb, pretty straightforward, and the Dr. Boom, of course.
And a little bit more armor. So I think we know what's going to happen to Dr. Boom in the near future here. There's also the possibility. Okay, so I keep waiting to see if he's going to draw another Savage Roar, because if he does, it's basically over.
No, yeah, I mean, and that's what, again, he used that earlier combo, but you at least had the Force of Nature. He was already going to be taken down to 15 health at that point. Of course, now with the armor climbing back up, we'll see how that goes. And RDU just going for the draws now as much as he can. He has that Innervate there. So you can make a couple of the things work. I would go for the Nourish too.
The Wrath is also a really good pickup to deal with the Lotheb. So he can, by playing Big Game Hunter and innovating out the Wrath, he can deal with both Lockshot Boom and the low tap here.
And you know what? And then he can just chip down the armor, and he can set himself up for that lethal. So just give. Oh, okay.
Taking down Lothab.
He wants to go for the draw, I guess.
16 himself.
Huh?
Personally, I feel like that play was a little bit rushed, just because he did draw that second Savage Roar. You were gonna have that combo for the next turn.
Yeah. Okay. Innervate into Big Game Hunter. So he does deal with Dr. Boom, of course.
I don't really see the reason to.
Yeah.
I didn't really see the reason to actually use the Shade to kill the Lothab. He could have just used. I guess he just wanted to hero power.
Yeah, well, I think, I don't know, looking back at that play, it looks like RDU was trying to guarantee keeping something on the board, but in the end, it didn't work out, right? This Boombot's still there. Sure, I mean, there is a chance, though, right, that the BGH is going to survive, and that's guaranteed lethal. Right now, he is at 16 effective health for Orange, so it's a little bit iffy, but for Orange, I think it's pretty straightforward here. With that many cards in RDU's hand, you gotta expect that it's back up there, even if you've seen one combo.
Yeah, the only way for Orange to stay alive right now is hitting the Big Game Hunter with the Boombot and then the Death Rattle proccing.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much. Yeah, can't kill it with the Death Spider or anything. He'd take too much damage himself.
Yeah, even with that hero power this turn, that's 4+2 there. So 6 extra damage on top of the combo that we all know and maybe love or hate coming out from Druid. So
a little bit of both.
Is it good? Oh, well,
misses.
That's supposed to end. Obviously, you got to pass through and see what's up, but we can see that over on the side for RDU.
Yeah, a little bit more damage to the face, so he does get RDU down to 7 health, but it's not going to make a difference. Not with that combo in hand for RDU, and our Druid player is going to be able to take game 1. Harrison Jones just kind of hanging out, but it's going to be Force of Nature, Savage Roar, the old classic, as RDU takes game 1 against Orange. Just a matter of sliding his finger up the board a couple times.
Like the little nod to the camera after. I like the flourish on RDU's play towards the end, securing that game 1.
A lot of there, right there.
Yeah, no, I like it. I mean, just look at me. You know, RDU right now is definitely thinking, all right, even though Orange had a good game 1, again, the mind games are working out. I picked the right decks. Orange fell right into my trap. He's feeling pretty good in this series.
And the Nourish came into play in a big way. You see Warrior had an insane start and was ahead pretty much the whole time.
Yeah.
Until he ran out of cards in hand.
Yeah.
And RDU just had Ancient of Lore and the Nourish as well to just draw into both combos. Like he drew both Force of Natures and both Savage Roars.
Yeah.
First one wiped out the board completely, and the second one just closed the game.
Exactly, and so we'll be going to a bit of a break, guys, but when we come back, game number 2 between RDU and Orange, we'll see if Orange can tie up the series here. Don't go anywhere, guys. This is the ESL Legendary Series Finals. Welcome back, guys, to the ESL Legendary Series. Right now, RDU up a game on Orange in our second best-of-5 quarterfinal match of the day. The Druid coming through with 2 combos, not just 1, 2 combos in the end. So Ekup, Frodan, what do you think, guys? I mean, what if you're Orange? You've still got Warrior to choose. What? Is 2 combos thing a little bit too much for you?
No, I know.
I got Frodan.
I changed appearances a lot. It's cool.
I'm going home. Bye.
Frodan's definitely, the multi-talent Frodan here. No, it's just,
see, he told me to do that. He told me to just keep calling you Frodan when you came up. So blame him.
It'd be an honor.
It was Inception. He Inceptioned me.
Yeah.
That's why it happened. Well, this is Chobra, guys. We've seen him a couple times before.
Be here all day.
That's right. Well, you know what? Orange still has 3 decks he can use. How about that?
Let's
Hunter,
go to the decks.
Rogue, and Warrior. What do you think he's going to pick? Do you think he'd go with the Warrior again now that Druid is out of the way? But then again, the Warrior was kind of tailored to it. I guess we don't have to wonder anymore. Now we're going to see. Interesting.
I agree with not bringing that out. So I mean, we'll see how it goes down for him. But again, you saw the decks on the other side. I mean, you've got to figure out now. RDU is just kind of going for what's been the steadiest, what's been the kind of strongest in the meta right now, and kind of mind gaming out from that Rogue matchup. So I don't think going for the slower deck would have been that good for him. So I'm with Orange on this pick. What about you, Ekup?
I think sorry about that. I was a little bit confused by the graphic there on the screen. RDU choosing the Hunter, and if it's a Face Hunter, it's going to be a really good matchup for RDU. And even if it's not a Face Hunter, if it's Midrange Hunter, it's still going to be tough for the Rogue to actually deal with all the threats that Hunter can put out. Usually as Face Hunter, you always have a really nice matchup against Rogue, because Rogue, all the Rogue needs is time to build up the cards in his hand to eventually burst down the opponent. But Face Hunter just doesn't give Rogue the time. He just charges to face all the time, and yeah, the rogue just doesn't have enough time to get those cards to eventually deal with the hunter.
Yeah, that's true. I would have, personally, I would have liked to see the hunter from Orange. You know, you kind of want to step back into this game too, try to take the momentum back. Again, we are in that conquest game or tournament system though, so the momentum isn't going to matter as much. But I think Ecop hit the nail right on the head here.
Well, it looks like it's going to be a mid-range hunter for RDU, seeing that Savannah Highmane and Houndmaster pop up in the opening hands with the mulligans. Orange, yeah, I think it's pretty reasonable to mulling away that Blade Fury and Azure Drake. What do you think?
Yeah, and you really need those life gain cards like Earthen Ring Farseer. Some rogues also play anti-Keelbot, which is really important in this matchup.
Right.
In general, you just want the cards that can control the board early on, like Fan of Knives, Deadly Poison, Backstab, SI7, stuff like that.
All right, we'll see. I mean, yeah, so... Yeah, Frodo and I were giving RDU a little bit of a hard time. It's like, oh, you probably face Hunter and Mech Mage again. It's like, it's just going to kind of steamroll through, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So RDU definitely trying to play the mind game a little bit step further here.
I guess so.
There are some interesting decisions in RDU's deck when it comes to deck building. We saw Timberwolf in the opening hand, which he mulliganed away, which not all the mid-range hunters use. And also Harrison Jones, which is going to come into play in a big way in this matchup for sure.
For sure. I mean, the other thing too is a lot of these mid-range hunters, I feel like you see more freezing traps and snake traps as well. Is that a bit of a surprise too?
No, that's kind of common in mid-range hunters.
Yeah, these days, those traps definitely coming back and making a name for themselves. But here's the thing about that Harrison Jones. I know it sounds like we're going back to that so much, but again, you have to think in the shoes of RDU. He's like, all right, well, he's going to try to counter my rogue. So he's going to bring these decks. You're going to expect that warrior. You're going to see probably the rogue mirror. Yeah. So then you're looking, all right, well, there's going to be tons of weapons. Why not put that tech card in there to flesh out my deck?
All right, just playing the Earthen Ring Farseer for a little bit more board presence.
Healing the opponent right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why not?
Some
nice
friendly banter there between the two players.
RDU politely thanking him. See, Hearthstone is such a pleasant game, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, I guess in the first three turns, it's always kind of pleasant.
If anyone knows about being pleasant and polite, it's Ecop. So I'm glad we've got you at the desk for this game right now. I feel like we've got the perfect person to see this match.
Totally.
So yeah, just going with the face there. Why not? I mean, no point in trying to trade with the Farseer, in my opinion.
Yeah, Deadly Poison.
I actually like Orange's hand very much. He has a lot of minions, which is a good thing because it's the best way of applying pressure early. And Hunter, if he falls back behind on the board too early against the rogue, can be in a pretty tough spot early on also already, especially because this is a slower kind of Hunter. But now Harrison Jones drawing 2 cards even.
Yeah, and getting rid of that Deadly Poison too. Orange didn't use a charge on that weapon, so that's just gone out the window.
Well, if I was Orange, I definitely wouldn't be expecting Harrison to kind of pop up in this Hunter deck. That's going to throw him for a bit of a loop.
Yeah, and the coin too, of course, coming in just in time right there. So, I mean, the Deadly Poison only used for the combo, it's going to feel a little bad for Orange, but I agree with Ecop. It's still going to be pretty okay for him, and looks like he's just going to start the race here against RDU. Why not? I mean, you're looking at the deck, I mean, you saw the Harrison, you're like, all right, well, it's not Face Hunter then, so why not start the race myself? Because you've got the minion, you've got the board advantage right now.
I think that is kind of the green light for getting aggressive, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, the secret too probably gave it a little off. Kind of hard. I mean, if you're playing Face Hunter, kind of hard not to have cards to play in the first couple turns. So Orange got a little bit of a tip there, but now definitely nail in the coffin. And RDU's gonna. I mean, he has so many cards, but it's all about how he uses them.
Yeah, there's so many options for RDU right now, and it's definitely tough to figure out the correct one. The mad scientists are kind of worthless because he already has Snake Trap in play and Freezing Trap in hand. So we might see, like, Unleash has some value here, but all it does really is deal with 1 minion.
Yeah.
It would have been much better if he had something like a Juggler or Timberwolf to back it up.
Oh, not gonna happen. What's he gonna do in that last 2 mana though? I mean, do you put the Freezing Trap out? I was wondering.
Yeah.
Wow.
Freezing Trap and attacking the SI7 most likely, just so he gets rid of the most expensive minion with the Freezing Trap.
Is it okay to give him that draw again in the future though, as the game kind of goes on?
It's a 7 mana draw 1 card, so it's not really that important. But he apparently used to remove the Azure Drake, he might be afraid of the spell damage. Who knows?
Huh.
Yeah, that too, I'd say. Yeah, it's not just the draw. Obviously, even if it's 7 mana with the spells, with the preps coming in later, you never know how that's going to edge you out just a bit. Hopefully, he wasn't worried about the draw, because I agree with you, Ecop, that 7 mana for 1 draw, not the best value.
Secret activated.
Orange, of course, had the option not to even attack with the Azure Drake and just leave it on the board for the spell damage.
Yeah.
And wait until he draws a better minion to bounce with the freezing trap.
So
Yeah,
here,
that's a very
probably
good point.
pirated Shredder, and he's going to go ahead and throw down the Blood Mage Thalnos as well. I think I just called that a pirated Shredder there. I've got pirates on the brain today, don't I?
Well, you know, who knows? That Shredder might be pirated. Who knows?
true.
Probably is,
Might have
really.
been
I mean,
stole-
anything pops out of that Shredder, man.
If it's in a rogue deck, it's probably been stolen from somewhere.
No,
So
seriously.
it probably is a pirated Shredder. That's true. I think
Pirated Shreddar.
Shredder. That's true. Perfect.
Savannah
There's a
coming
Savannah
out.
High Main.
Yeah, turn 6. I mean, you always expect that. Those are one of those staple cards for certain classes. As for the Blood Mage Thalnos, I think Orange kind of trying to play his own mind game here against RDU. Just saying, all right, well, you got rid of 1 spell damage. I'm going to try to threaten you with a little bit more spell damage on board. Worst case, it stays there for the spell damage. If not, you're going to get that draw. That's why it's such an excellent legendary.
Yeah, Orange right now does not have the perfect answer against the Highwind, which is Sap.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really tough for him to deal with this.
Yeah, do you just go ahead and Lotheb here and possibly give that to him? Or do you maybe, try something with the weapon and set up perhaps a Tinker's Sharp Sword Oil combo next turn?
Currently, Orange is very far ahead still in terms of health and the board right now by playing the Lotheb. So all he has to do is exactly what he's doing right now, going for face, being the threat himself and not allowing the hunter to become the threat.
Makes sense.
Usually when you're like kind of in an equal board state, sometimes it's a game of chicken.
Yeah.
Because, whoever goes for the minions first loses. That's this
Exactly.
game pretty much.
And that's what's going to happen here. I mean, RDU's really got to watch out. Right now, we can see that Lethal's set up here for Orange. With that Tinker, with the prep and the Deadly Poison, he's going to really top that off really well.
Yep.
So you're going to want to take care of something, probably the Lotheb. But
It's doing the most damage.
yeah,
technically,
and,
by
you,
one,
and
I
the Sludge
suppose,
Belcher
but-
too. You got to put that down if
Oh, yeah.
you're RDU.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Sludge Belcher is going to be really important to preserve some health and also to be able to proc the snake trap.
Since it may seem like kind of desperate measures times for RDU, do you maybe consider silencing Blood Mage Thalnos? Denying that spell power might be pretty important right now. And the draw as well, I suppose. But, being at the health that he's at, I'd be a little bit worried. Just playing everything, just getting more bodies on the board.
Oh, he's going for face.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's really trusting in the taunt and the snake trap here. Not going to be immediate lethal here because of the taunt. I mean, the death value doing work for RDU on that Belcher.
Yeah, it looks like it's just going to be some drawing with Gadgets and Auctioneer, and he's going to get a couple cards here.
Can actually draw up to 3 cards with Preparation, Deadly Poison, and Tinker's Sharp Sword Oil.
Yeah. You just go in order and see what you're getting out of it. I do like going with the Deadly Poison first, because if you draw something that's going to help you set up the lethal next turn, you might as well save the other Chooch for that perfect finish. But he's going to want to fish for a little bit more.
He's thinking about Prep Fan of Knives right now, actually, because he could take out the Mad Scientist and the 1-2 taunt left over from the Sludge Belcher if he kills the first part with Lotheb.
Yeah. Oh.
Perhaps.
Draws the backstep for another card.
Yeah.
Yeah, there
pretty
you
good.
go. This is kind of working out for him. Of course, the beauty of the Gaddison Auctioneer for Rogues, as always. And yeah, you're going to see that, but Phantom Now is going to take care of the Snake Trap really well.
Yeah.
Beautifully played right there.
Really good answer.
Yeah. Yeah,
Knives.
I really like just taking his time with all of that, making sure he thinks everything through, and he gets to Shiv. I mean, he's just on his way right now to setting things up for that next turn.
Yep.
Oh, and Orange almost made a mistake
Yeah, I
the
saw
rogue
that.
by attacking with the wrong minion into the freezing trap, but he quickly changed his mind and attacked with the Blood Mage first. Very
Yep.
smart.
Well, this is going to make it pretty tough for RDU. I think we're going to... Or pretty tough, rather, for Orange.
Oh, for RDU.
For
on the
RDU,
Hunter
yeah.
side, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't really see a way out of this because you can't clear the board. You don't have a taunt. Lotheb really isn't going to help right now. Orange only needs 9 health. So Orange, you can see, already looks a little relaxed. RDU digging his brain for some answers, but it's not really going to come to him at this point.
I can deal with the Auctioneer. I can deal with Lotheb.
Yeah.
But there's still the weapon on the board.
Yep, that's
the
right.
weapon. We have the Sharp Sword Oil, and
you know that a rogue is probably going to have at least 2 damage in his hand, right?
Yeah, so
I mean,
that's-
when you give them a turn at 9 health, you're like, all right, this is probably it.
And
When
there
you
it
say
is.
well played.
yep, the Lotheb, he was trying to fish to block any of that, but just enough mana for the ramped up Tinker Sharp Sword Oil, and there we go.
Yeah, Orange takes game 2. We're all tied up here, actually, in the second best of 5. One deck eliminated for both players. And
Yeah.
it's getting exciting, man.
Yeah, of course.
It was a very good start for Orange, to be fair. He had all the minions to apply early game pressure, and Ardu's hand was a little bit slow. He had to use Unleash without kind of additional value through Knife Juggler and Timberwolf, unfortunately. So Ardu could not deal with whatever Orange put out on the board as effectively as he liked.
Well, it's got to feel so good for Orange, too, to come back and be able to tie up the series, kind of say, all right, I'm still in this one. Against a player like RDU, a win for Orange here would be huge career-wise.
Yeah, I think Orange definitely has been on the steady climb for making a name for himself.
Yeah.
But again, going to an event and being able to lift up a trophy at the end on the stage is always going to feel nice for any player, even if you've won a couple. So
Right.
Orange definitely fighting for that spot. Now, of course, we'll find out after the break, but I mean, both players are going to have that choice to switch out the decks. And I think for Orange, the good part is that you've seen the little twist in the Hunter deck. So he's going to really be able to work around that. It's not going to be any more surprises.
That's right.
Well, when we come back, guys, we'll see what the decks are going to be. We've got a tie series now between RDU and Orange. Don't go anywhere. The ESL Legendary Series Grand Finals continues right after this. And welcome back to the ESL Legendary Series Finals. We're in the middle of a great match between RDU and Orange, tied up 1 apiece. As we look at going into Game 3 and the decks available, RDU, Hunter and Mage remaining. Orange, Hunter and Warrior. Now, Orange did lose with that Warrior early on after coming back getting a win. Do you think it's time to maybe bring it out again?
It all depends on whatever deck RDU tries to
Yeah,
bring.
exactly.
Warrior would have a favorable matchup against the Mage, but maybe not as favorable against a Hunter, a mid-range Hunter, especially with Harrison Jones in there.
True.
I think having seen that, Orange should shy away from that Warrior. I do agree. So yeah, we are going to see the Hunter, but it's actually going to be the Mage coming out from RDU.
Yeah, that's right. RDU switching over to his Mage, and it looks like Hunter coming in for Orange. So he's going to try to save that Warrior, going to try to wait and get a win with that later on. Now, Hunter versus Mage, it kind of remains to be seen what kind of Hunter deck this is, what kind of Mage deck this is. But in terms of possibilities, breaking it down, Face Hunter obviously can take wins off anything, but what Mage deck would be probably the one you'd want to see the most?
I'm pretty sure that most players will bring Mech Mage to the table.
Still, yeah.
Generally, yeah. That's true.
It's just the most consistent deck, to be fair, and Priest Mage, while being powerful in this format as well, because it can take games by surprise and counter a lot of decks, it also gets countered by a lot of decks.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a risky gambit to bring Priest Mage to a tournament like this. Whereas when you bring Mech Mage, you will always do the same thing against pretty much any deck. So are you preferring consistency over a risky gambit?
Always, for sure.
Not a bad idea in a tournament like this. Well, we're into game number 3. Orange on the Hunter deck, RDU playing Mage, and it is indeed Mech Mage. There's that Clockwork Gnome. And with the Freezing Trap and the Dr. Boom in the hand of Orange, looks like he's opting with mid rather than Face Hunter.
Yeah, it looks like he's going for a little bit of that too. So both players coming with some similar flavors. But yeah, with the Mech Mage, of course, the secret being there, that was kind of an advanced version for a little while. Now it's become the standard for RDU. And there are a couple other variations now too, right? That are a little bit slower, a little bit, the Tempo Mage coming and making a storm for itself. But
making a tempo storm. I see where you're going.
What Ecop said again for Conquest mode, it is about that consistency. And that's why it's a little bit more relatable for a lot of people. And so I do like the choice from RDU for the Mech Mage.
All right, for first Hunter turn, it's going to be a coined out Eagle Horn Bow. Going to go ahead and take down the Mad Scientist. Perhaps thinking. Do you think he maybe acted a little bit too quick there, Ecop?
Well, he definitely wants to get rid of one of those minions, but the question is which one. If he goes and kills the mech, he denies RDU Tinkertown Technician.
Yeah.
True.
And
also he might just not want him to have a secret as well.
Exactly. I mean, again, you're setting that up for the Freezing Trap too for Orange. That's why, of course, he didn't play the trap first. So, the spare part's not going to feel good later, but for now, I mean, you can just take it into account, play around it. Meanwhile, the Scientist is going to have an immediate impact with a secret, so I do prefer, all things considered, that choice.
Yeah. Okay, looks like another attack possibly going in, and he got Leok.
Good old Leok.
Yeah.
Man's best friend.
Yeah, now that there's a secret on the board for the Mech Mage, he can... Orange can actually go ahead and kill his Mad Scientist, because the Mad Scientist will most likely not even fetch another secret.
Yeah, you know, of course, the charge there. It's going to feel a little bad, so he's actually going to try to save that up for the Freezing Trap.
He's going to wait.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he has the Leok, too, to take care of it next turn, but now you're becoming a ticking time bomb. Again, it's Mech Mage that you're facing. Things can speed up pretty quickly. Thankfully, again, after having taken out that Clockwork Gnome, no more mechs on the board yet, so don't have to worry about the Blast Mage this turn. You know, no other immediate impacts.
Now, on curve, he could play the Piloted Shredder, the Mechanical Yeti. He could get a little bit crazy and use a Reversing Switch on Leok to kill it with his Mad Scientist. You know, what do you think would be optimal? Is that a little bit too much?
It's a fancy play, but you definitely want to drop a 4 here.
You want to establish
you
the
only have 4
board.
mana crystals and so many 4-drops in your hand.
Yeah, and I do like the Yeti over, again, with that Eagle Horn Bow still there for Orange. You're just going to want to keep that. You want something that will stay alive there.
Web Spinner the draw now.
Yeah,
for Orange.
Nothing too exciting. Houndmaster there on the Freezing Trap.
I was going to say, yeah, that Houndmaster could set him up for a pretty decent board, especially after killing that Mad Scientist.
Yeah, you definitely want to kill off the Mad Scientist first before playing a minion, though.
Yeah.
You might even... It seems like Orange might not even play a minion this turn if he was hovering over that Freezing Trap right now.
Yeah, I could still drop the Web Spinner, I suppose.
Yeah,
but
go for the Hero Power, maybe.
if you're going to give someone a mirror entity, Web Spinner, would that necessarily be the worst thing?
You know...
There we go. Looks like it will be a Web Spinner.
I mean, the thing with Web Spinner, though, and that's why it's such a good card, is that Death Rattle, you never know what you're going to give out. Of course, the synergy isn't going to be there as much.
Whoa, he just got Malorn, rather.
Well, if he got Malfurion, that'd be
I was going to say Malfurion.
OP.
Malorn, yeah, that's a different game.
Oh, wow.
So...
you gave him a Legendary. Okay, well.
Yeah, I mean,
that does happen.
That helps a ton, though, if you really think about it. Because again, a Mech Mage doesn't run out of steam as much as maybe some other, you know, the older Zoo versions or something like that.
Yeah.
But it is gonna be a little bit tough if you don't get that Antonidas towards the end game.
Or Dr. Boom.
Yeah, or Dr. Boom. So Malorn's just gonna keep coming back and back with that Death Rattle and keep RDU alive if he needs to.
Wow.
That Blast Mage just hit Leok 3 times. That's
I know.
Crazy.
Things are really looking to be in favor.
The Blast Mage and the Web Spinner
here.
have an agreement, right? He's like, okay, you can't hit me. Take out Leok. Nobody likes Leok anyway. It's okay. Yeah.
All right, so Orange really, he's really has to think 2 steps ahead from now, and it's going to be tough. I mean, the obvious play, maybe the Belcher, I guess, but it will just get traded with that Blast Mage.
Yeah, I mean, the other options aren't really anymore appealing, per se.
It is actually okay for Orange if enemy minions survive as 1 HP, because he does have to unleash the Hounds.
Yeah. And, of course, the Web Spinner there, too. So, back at RDU, he's feeling pretty comfortable. Now, do you put down the Yeti again? You're not going to have many opportunities later on to put down that 6-mana mech.
True.
To make use of it. And you're going to want the spare parts as you ramp up towards the Antonidas.
It just seems better, though, to put the 4 and like 2 minions on the board.
Yeah,
like
the Shredder and the
Shredder.
I agree. Chugga Chugga?
Yeah, the Chugga.
Snow. Okay. Snow Chugger. He's just Chugga Chugga.
Yeah, while no one likes Leok, everyone likes Chugga.
That's his rapper name. That's my rapper name, too, actually.
Is it?
Blizzard stole it. Yep.
Yeah, well,
I agree, though. I think getting a little bit more board presence would certainly be pretty valuable right now for RDU.
Yeah, you can't. I guess you can't be too concerned and get hung up on things that got Freezing Trapped. I mean, that's the whole point. Okay.
Chugga Chugga.
Yeah, and going for the Blast Mage, and it's gonna clear everything. Wow.
RDU getting the perfect Blast Mages this game.
Yeah, you can see that Orange definitely wasn't too happy about that, and RDU very excited. Things are working out for him.
Yeah, I would say so.
RDU definitely struck some kind of deal with the Goblins.
Did you just see he just got Gazrilla from that other Web Spinner?
Yeah, he got Gazrilla for Orange. He gets the Gazrilla from his own Web Spinner, but
yeah. So we've got Web Spinners only handing out legendaries apparently today.
That's true.
Yeah.
RDU winning out in that department, in my opinion, but
I agree. It remains to be seen. Gazrilla can get kind of scary, but I think you're probably right.
Actually, how many legendaries can Web Spinner give you? Like 5, I guess, right?
Yeah, because it's across classes.
Beast legendaries, yeah, I
it's like
suppose.
Mukla as well, and my
King Crush.
And King Crush.
Yeah. Let's see. There's got to be a couple other ones.
So, We're back at RDU.
Yeah.
So
You could play the Malorn.
yeah, I mean, why not?
It's a
yeah,
9/7.
you could go for the Shredder and then your Mirror Entity.
Yeah.
Seeing that we are going past turn 7, actually, yeah, I guess that feels good too.
It is hard though because Malorn only gives you 1 minion on the board. Sure,
Yeah.
it's a really strong one, which is probably better than just playing Shredder and Mirror Entity. However, if your opponent runs a Hunter's Mark or something like that, then you just get punished so hard by that play.
It's okay. It'll be back later. And there's Malorn. So
Yep.
Orange may be a little bit surprised to see that one.
The world we live in.
Yep.
With GVG.
Mages playing Malorn.
Yeah.
I love it.
Mages getting Druid cards off of Hunter cards.
Yeah.
How?
So back at Orange's turn here. Not going to be able to do too much with his hero, of course.
Yep.
Okay, going for the taunt.
Okay.
Yeah, at this point, I think Orange is trying to fight to stabilize. And that way he can ignore Malorn for one more turn and again try to fish for a more efficient way to get rid of that legendary.
True enough.
Meanwhile, on the flip side, I mean, he has a pretty flushed down hand and 9 damage to face.
It just hurts so much.
Yeah, I mean,
quite a bit.
Malorn
has just he's done his job, right? You do the 9 damage,
yeah,
and if you
that's
die
it.
now, you go back into the deck. He'll just take a nap, come back.
Oh boy.
Yeah, definitely take it a little bit safer. I mean, you're so ahead. Again, you have the Malorn, so he needs to get rid of it. And if he gets rid of it, it just goes right back in your deck.
Yeah, if your opponent had the opportunity to deal with Malorn last turn, he would have done it.
Exactly.
And, therefore, all he needs to do is remove the damage from that is on the board right now that could deal with Malorn, which is why the Frostbolt on the Houndmaster was the right play right there.
Exactly right. Looks like the Piloted Shredder is going to be taken out here.
Hoping for a Doomsayer.
And it is Hyena.
The
Wow.
synergy really coming in play for Jaina
know.
today.
I mean, the Mage is getting a lot more out of this Hunter Druid stuff than the Hunter is.
Yeah, well.
Oh, that sounds like a concede to me. Yep.
RDU taking that third game?
Yeah, looks
Yeah.
like it. Wow. Well,
How about that?
what can you do? You took the chances and.
Yeah, you give a Mage Malorn, and suddenly everything just kind of falls apart, huh?
But the Blast Mage is also, being played on the right turns, I think. I think
yeah.
RDU really, again, we discuss a couple other choices depending on the mana curve, but RDU always going for, I think, what is going to lead him to the best win. Not necessarily what's safest, what's going to give him the win the fastest. And I like to see that coming out from any player, of course.
Yeah. Last match definitely doing their job well.
Yeah.
Putting him on that route to win the game the fastest way possible.
I would say so. Well, it's time for another quick break, but when we come back, we'll see if Orange can tie up the series yet again in 4-set Game 5. Guys, don't go anywhere. This is the ESL Legendary Series. We'll be right back. We are back, guys, at the ESL Legendary Series Finals. I'm Doa. With me is Chobra and Ikop, and right now, RDU up 2-1. Game point. If Orange doesn't win this one, he's out.
Yeah, and RDU will be coming back to the Hunter we saw in game number 2.
Yep.
Of course, with this Conquest game mode, he has that one deck left. We'll see how it does for him. He had the loss, but I thought it was a solid deck, and he brought the Harrison, which is going to do good work for him if it comes out at the right turn.
Yeah, he's got this choice.
In both matchups, the Harrison will be effective.
Yeah.
The mid-range Hunter Mirror often relies on the bow being most effective because the bow can potentially get a lot of charges. There's like 3 traps, I think, at least.
Yeah.
Against the warrior, obviously, especially a warrior with Gore Howl.
Yeah.
Harrison will come into play in a big way.
So on Orange's side, I mean, what's the better bet? You've seen this deck before. I mean, both players have seen both decks before.
Let's find out. Looks like it's going to be Warrior. Okay, I like it. Going with the Warrior. And we're already into games. So Warrior versus Hunter. Orange fighting for his life here at the ESL Legendary Series Finals. He needs to win this game to tie things up against RDU. Orange's chances at winning that big title that's been elusive so far for him, maybe slipping away a bit here.
All right, so
I really like Orange's hand here. The Frothing Berserker is a minion that is so hard to deal with for a Hunter unless you roll a really good animal companion. And the Frothing Berserker just can get out of control so fast and just close out the game early on for the Warrior.
yeah, it looks like it's going to be on that route. Of course, we have the Hunter's Mark, but using a Hunter's Mark on Frothing Berserker is not going to feel good for RDU. We'll see how things play out, though.
Oh, Mad Scientist will be the first play, just getting a little bit of something on the board.
Yep, has the Freezing Trap in hand, so We'll see what else it draws out from his deck.
Wow, I like this hand more and more for Orange, actually. Now going into that Pilot Shredder, he's opting to give the damage over to the Armor Smith, getting a little bit of armor early on, dealing with the Mad Scientist, and he's got potentially the ability to deal with the trap in the Cruel Taskmaster, too.
Yeah, definitely buffing the Armor Smith there was better than Scientist. You get more armor, you get a better minion that can trade with better minions.
Now, what happened last time, of course, with Orange's Warrior was that it kind of ran out of steam. You tried to take the early lead, and you couldn't get the draws. Not going to be really the case against Hunters, though. And they don't have the same draw power that Druids do, so I think Orange feels pretty...
It's not Freezing Trap, so like Orange right now knows that it's got to be Snake Trap.
Yeah, he checked for both Explosive and Freezing, so things are looking pretty good.
The Armor Smith possibly here? I mean, is it worth it with the Frothing Berserker out? It's so dangerous. That Frothing Berserker just really changes everything, doesn't it?
We might actually see the scenario which you mentioned.
Yeah.
Just marking the Frothing Berserker.
I think you might have to.
I think you do, right? I mean, because you have two minions who are going to synergize with each other, and then you got the Taskmaster who can... tokens from the Creeper.
Well, there you go. RDU, but that's going to be the end of his turn.
And the little spiderlings that are on the board right now are actually pretty good because Orange will not be inclined to attack them.
Take care of that Armor Smith next turn. I mean, now at this point, you don't want to send either of those cards back.
Acolyte of Pain, okay. Wow.
Well,
where's the Whirlwind, huh?
Snake Trap, he will just never go for the minions. He tries to apply as much pressure as possible. That's why he played the Pilot Shredder as well here, instead of the Acolyte.
Yeah, I like
for RDU to deal with this Armor Smith. He can get rid of it. It's done its job, but he's still got that Piloted Shredder now to worry about. I guess you could silence it with the Iron Beak Owl, potentially?
There's no good play here for RDU in my opinion. Like the Freezing Trap, yeah, not gonna really be worth it unless it accurately sends the Shredder back. I mean, so then, yeah, if you silence it, sure, I mean, it sits there, but...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're just gonna see an Owl. It's not really like the best use of an Owl right now, and it's not really the best play that Hunter can possibly do, but right now, Freezing Trap would just return a Taskmaster, which is not what RDU wants, and yeah, he also doesn't want to play the Harrison, obviously because there's no weapon yet.
Yeah, so this is, yeah, he made do with what he had, but it's not going to feel too good. Trying to put some other threats on the board. Okay, just trying to draw things out. That is going to draw aggro to that wolf first.
Yeah, it makes it harder to trade efficiently with that Piloted Shredder. Wow, there's a Spellbreaker in this one, too.
Okay. Huh. It's definitely been making a wave back here and there for certain decks.
Yeah, it was back for a little bit after GVG first came out, then it kind of went away again, and now it's starting to come back. I've always liked Spellbreaker, so it's cool to see it back again. There's a Lotheb. Draw for RDU.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? I mean, Orange still was playing just straight, go for the face. Again, you don't want to deal with that Snake Trap. So RDU, I think, made the right choice with the Wolf earlier, trying to draw things out for the Snake Trap, but not going to get the play he wanted.
Yeah, RDU just has to put everything on the board that he can in order to deal with Orange's aggression. It's kind of funny to see how early on the Warrior puts the aggro on the Hunter, but including cards like that Piloted Shredder, like that Frothing Berserker, and even Spellbreaker, it just puts a lot of pressure on your opponent, which was kind of unheard of for Warrior decks in the past. So this kind of mid-rangey Hunter, mid-rangey Warrior that we see from Orange here, actually putting the pressure on RDU right now and looking to close out the game.
I really like it. I mean, we just saw what happened too, is that he can play the Shield Maiden while he still has a pretty full board. So he's now playing both sides of the whole Warrior aspect, right? You're putting down the pressure, still building up the armor. And it's just going to lead pretty straightforward to a GG here.
Yeah, we can see there is easy lethal for Orange, and he's just going to go ahead and play that Death Spite, play some minions. Could use Gorehal, not wanting to reveal anything more than he has to, and that is it. We are tied up now, RDU and Orange. It looks like we're going to end up going to a Game 5.
Yes, we are.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited that we get to go to the Game 5 already right here in the second quarterfinal.
Yeah.
And I think both these players deserve to go for a full game, see what happens. However, of course, in Game 5, that means the decks are decided for both players.
It's true. Hunter versus Hunter, man. It's going to be pretty intense. But for now, we have to go to a short break. But when we come back, it's going to be the final game between RDU and Orange. Who's going to take it? Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back on the ESL Legendary Series brought to you by HP and Intel right after this. And we are back with game number 5 between RDU and Orange here at the ESL Legendary Series Finals. I'm Doa, with me is Chobra and Ecop again. We know the decks. It's Conquest format. It's going to be Hunter versus Hunter. What do you think? Ecop, who's going to take it?
I mean, both players bringing the mid-range Hunter. Both players kind of having their different takes on it. We will see a lot of mind games involved.
I think
traps,
so.
And we will definitely see a lot of... It will be an interesting matchup for sure, because it's not as mind-numbing as, for example, a Face Hunter mirror.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Right? There's a lot of interesting decisions and options that players can take, and it will definitely reward the more skilled player.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good test. We saw the Harrison Jones area, but that's only one part of it. Like
Right.
Ecop mentioned, it's not Face Hunter versus Face Hunter. It really is going to be about how do you predict kind of 2 steps ahead, which, again, on ladder, that's not what you see with Hunters a lot, but that's the case with the mid-range.
Yeah, and I mean, this is such a big match between these two players, too. Again, RDU looking for a first big win this year. Orange looking for his first big win on the stage ever, and there it is. Hunter versus Hunter in our final game in this best of 5. Our second quarterfinal match here in the ESL Legendary Series Finals at IEM Katowice.
Yeah, you know, having spoken to both players, I met Orange yesterday. Looked like he was pretty comfortable, but RDU looked very confident coming into the venue today here at the Intel Extreme Masters Expo.
Yeah, Orange's loading screen said he was bribing guards at the end. I suppose here at the venue maybe might be kind of helpful. I don't know. We'll see.
All right, well, we are looking at the mulligans here. And so we'll see as they go down which player will have chosen their...
RDU is the one with the coin, I believe.
I believe so, too. Well, RDU, I think, has the coin. Yep, you're right. So that means first turn goes to Orange. He's going to start off with a Dr. Boom in hand. A little bit of a high mana cost card. There's the Unleash. He's going to pass that turn.
Yeah, RDU definitely having the advantage here.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
only because he has the coin to stabilize his mana curve, but also because he has the better cards in hand for the early curve. Orange, on the other hand, kind of struggling. His first real play would be a turn 3 Animal Companion, while RDU can bust out of the gates with turn 1 Haunted Creeper immediately if he wants to.
All right.
Thinking about that coin, and it looks like it will be that Haunted Creeper.
Yeah, you know, again, this is just already proving the fact that you can't just go into it face forward in this matchup. You've seen each other's, or parts of each other's decks. At least you know the style that you're going up against. So both players taking it a little bit slower.
Yeah. So that freezing trap used then by Orange. RDU is just going to run right into it.
And it is okay to use it like this.
Yeah.
Sure, it is kind of painful to use it on a 2-mana minion. However, freezing trap in this matchup that Unleash the Hounds exists.
Yeah.
Right.
And it is kind of like trading a 2-mana card for a 2-mana card in this situation, because the Haunted Creeper, it will be a long time until the Haunted Creeper sees play again.
Yeah.
Sure enough, it makes it harder to use it with like a kill command or something like that too. So
Ooh,
It's
all
okay.
right. Well, RDU getting the bow advantage. We talked about how important that card is. And, you know, the Leok on the board probably will get sent back. We'll see how Orange reacts to that one.
Yeah, RDU just basically deciding right now whether he wants to use up one of his charges to go for face already. Is he
Yeah.
afraid of a Harrison of an Orange's deck? Who knows?
you never know, man.
You never know. But at the same time, for Orange, pretty telegraphed. I mean, sure, it could have been any secret given that you only had 3 mana, but given how just swiftly it was decided by RDU, I think you got to assume probably going to be the freezing. Not going to rush it if it's just a snake trap with no minions on the board. You'd rather actually just get the snakes, right, without the bow. So
Well, this team, Orange can just ping with his hero power if he wants to as well. think it's kind of going to be his only play.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is really where I think the mind games come through, is that you want to get that tempo advantage, but at the same time, neither player really has anything to play with on the board.
Yeah.
So kind of just dancing around each other's plays, and here we go, probably the first definitive play here in this game with that Shredder.
Orange made a very smart play, not attacking with the Leok, not hoping that RDU does have a Snake Trap instead of a Freezing Trap right there. He does have the Unleash the Hounds in hand, obviously, to proc the Freezing Trap next turn.
Exactly. So just dancing back and forth. The Orange playing, I mean, he already set that tone from that get-go, not applying with the Leok, or not attacking rather with the Leok, has a Sludge Belcher, and we'll just be here all day.
I think so. This one could be a pretty passive early game, huh? Hey, another Sludge Belcher. Why not? Play all the Sludge Belchers.
But if you do that, at some point, RDU is going to find that sweet spot to play the Unleash the Hounds, get rid of the Freezing Trap, and he'll be able to put down the pressure.
Yeah, very true. Orange with a couple Unleash the Hounds himself, too.
So
Lotheb, maybe? Eh.
Yeah, Orange with that Unleash the Hounds. And he has a Knife Juggler, too, so...
that's true, yeah. Okay. He's going to go for it. Just go ahead and pop that Freezing Trap. Better.
That he decided to do it with a Leok and not with a Hound.
Yeah. Certainly could have, couldn't you?
Well, does that mean he wants to... Okay.
He just wanted to put a bigger minion on the board.
All right.
Yep.
Sounds...
And saved it Unleash for when more minions are actually on the board, so Juggler plus Unleash can get maximum value.
Yep. Now the bow did get 3 charges, but... all right, the Lotheb first.
All right, yeah, he's going to let that sit out there.
Yeah, that's going to deny any easy removal for the Sludge Belcher for RDU, so now we're kind of back to square one.
Yeah, more or less.
I mean, okay, so here's the thing with the bow too, right? Is, I mean, now it's turn 6. Sure, you have 3 charges, but with those taunts, you're going to have to start taking the damage to the face, which never really feels good as a hunter. You're not the warrior.
Well, you're not going to be healing.
Yeah, and so, you know, using it against earlier minions, maybe, but afterwards, it's really just there more as a threat, I feel.
Well, RDU just RDU chose purposely to save the charges for minions,
right?
Because he's also not afraid of that much burst from a mid-range hunter.
True, true.
He was still at full health anyway, so it was okay to save up the charges.
Well, turn 7, definitely. Handful of options here.
And the board for RDU just has so much sustain right now. It's hard to get rid of anything permanently. And with another Sludge Belcher coming out for Orange now, he's got a little bit of the same thing going.
Yeah, the Unleash the Hounds are going to be so devastating for...
Yeah, so Orange really waiting to play that out. I really like here, you know, putting the Sludge Belcher down, and then you're going to see, does he... Oh, wow. Okay, well, that changes things a little bit. I was going to say you're going to be either forced to use another charge or maybe draw out that Death Rattle, securing probably more kills with Unleash the Hound and Knife Juggler combo. But...
That Unleash is going to enter play next turn.
I think so.
That would be insane.
Yeah, that's a lot of knives being juggled.
Yeah, still going to do a lot of work here.
Yep. All right, a lot of damage to the face from RDU. And now back over to Orange again.
Yeah, he has his hand prepared, ready to go.
He's ready for the knife double unleash. Here it is. It's going to be 8 knives thrown out total. What's it going to kill?
It's going to kill a lot of things. I mean, at this point, if it doesn't kill something, Orange is just...
Pretty sure it's just going to clean the whole board up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After both, yeah.
Right, you attack with these. You got to make room for more.
Well, now, yeah, you got to make sure you choose the right attacks here. Yeah, you want to whittle that one down. And don't... Yeah, and then you want to get rid of one Death Rattle, but you don't want to attack the Huffer, right? Because you want that extra pound from the next one.
Shadow Boxer, not a big threat there.
Taking everything down to 1.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it. You might as well pop that second Death Rattle. Now, personally, I would have liked to see him attack with the Mad Scientist first, just in case we saw a taunt come out or something like that from the Shredder. But either way, it's going to work out for him.
It's going to be, there goes Huffer. Goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard not to clear it at this point, so he's going to be able to clean the board. Very squeaky clean, gets his own secret, and he still has Lotheb on the board with the Knife Juggler. So 2 pretty solid threats that RDU now has to consider using his weapon for.
Now the question is, what is the secret that Orange got right there?
Yeah.
That is really important to know. Because if it's Snake Trap, RDU definitely does not want to attack those minions.
That's
Animal Companion, I think he's just going to hope for a charge.
Oh, he got
run
it
in
there.
there. He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Huffer. What's the trap?
And it was
Freezing.
Trap.
Okay. All right, well, Slight sigh of relief there, not having to worry about the snakes, but you still got that. You still got that Lothar. I mean, what are you going to do about it, right?
Yeah, RDU with the second kill command in hand has to obviously consider closing out the game early.
Mm-hmm.
But he also has to be worried a little bit about his health. Wait, Ragnaros can hit the board next turn already. How much is this actually lethal? Oh no, it's 1 damage. No, it's actually exactly if the juggler hits face and Ragnaros hits face.
Yeah. So if he doesn't put a minion down, it is lethal. So
I think you just play Huffer again here, don't you? No, he's not going to.
Oh, wow. Well then.
Well, he needs to play Timberwolf.
Oh, okay.
He played the Mad Scientist.
All right, he played the Mad Scientist. We skipped out a little bit early, but he's gonna.
Oh, I didn't even see it.
Saw him reaching towards. I thought.
All right. Yeah. I mean, no, it looked like he was gonna end turn there, but
yeah.
All right. So now we're back at RDU. All right. So do you go for the? Do you go for the chance? I mean, you have Dr. Boom too, but you're down to 10 health.
You have a 50-50 chance of winning there.
Yeah.
You just gotta go for it.
If the Knife Juggler hits. And Ragnaros hits.
The juggle hits will guarantee either lethal or a 50-50 win.
Yes.
No, actually, no, never mind.
Well, it can't guarantee lethal, right? So.
You're right. It never guarantees lethal.
But you gotta just go for it at this point. You can't play it slower. You're down to 10 health.
Orange's tournament on the line. RDU's tournament on the line.
And
what's it gonna
where's
be?
the knife gonna go?
It goes to the face. Where's Ragnaros gonna go?
Orange just meditating before he hits that end turn, but you see RDU like smiling at the camera.
Orange saying his prayers to Iron Jesus.
The moment of
this is
truth.
It. The match decided by this Ragnaros here.
I cannot imagine a game that's more down to the wire that's gonna happen this weekend.
He's struggling to press that button.
Ladies and gentlemen.
He's gotta press it. He's got to press it. Where's it going? Oh, it goes to face.
Wow, Orange coming out with the win at the very end.
Wow, what a match. Orange coming up big with the final turn, the final press of the button, deciding it over RDU. Yeah, man, that is heart attack inducing right there. And RDU, a rough way to win here.
RDU.
Made it this far, made it to the round of 8, made it to the final game. The final turn of the final game.
Orange coming back after being 2-1 behind already. And what an amazing way to close the series.
Seriously.
Ragnaros, the Fire Lord.
Wow,
Man. Orange just relieved. Look at this guy.
Yeah, I can't wait to speak with him. He's letting the emotions kind of like calm himself down before he comes on and speak to us. But I'd love to have a little chat with Orange here, the winner for the second quarterfinal.
RDU obviously disappointed, but there was nothing he could do. He played this perfectly.
Yeah, he played what he could.
Yeah, that's CCGs for you, man. There's always surprises around every turn, and this time Orange is going to be able to take that match with a 3-2 victory over RDU. Guys, we'll take a quick break, and then we'll come back with a winner interview, and I'm sure Orange has a lot to say, so don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back with more ESL Legendary Series Finals right after this.